Hi, everybody. I'm Scott Hards, and this is
Brian Keaney.
Hey, and we're back for another episode of HobbyWire. This is episode number 2, and wow, we just spent, Brian, 30 minutes trying to technically figure out how to do this because...
Yeah, because we're not in the same room, not in the same building.
Yeah, social
other
distancing.
Side of town.
You know, and boy, we don't want to be doing it like this, but we had to both take a crash course in how to record Skype calls and edit video for this kind of interview format.
Yeah.
And I think we're far from the only folks in the world who've had to learn how to do podcasting a little bit different way.
That's right.
Well, I hope everybody is staying safe out there in the midst of the pandemic. So unfortunately, it's kind of forced us into bringing you HobbyWire in this kind of format. And of course, the unfortunate news related to the COVID-19 pandemic isn't limited to how we do our podcasting. Sadly, the news has come in this week, Brian, that New Zealand's Wingnut Wings is going to be closing their doors permanently.
Very sad news.
This is very sad news, yeah. And it's particularly sad for Brian and I. I know I've been on some of the online forums, and a lot of people, of course, are wondering, oh my God, what's going to happen to those beautiful toolings? And of course, you know, we'd all like to be able to continue to buy what have been probably the best World War I scale kits that have ever been made, by far. Right. But for us, I mean, we know these guys.
Yeah,
we know these guys.
Long time.
Yep, 10 years ago. Richard Alexander, who's been pretty much running the show for Wingnut Wings, which is, of course, as many folks know, created by Peter Jackson about 11 or 12 years ago. Richard Alexander came to HobbyLink about 10 years ago. We've got some video of that. In fact, I think it might still be on our HobbyLink TV channel somewhere. To talk to us about the new venture back then. And, of course, we got a lot of exciting kits in the interim. But sadly, no more, at least from this team. So, you know, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure somebody's going to probably end up with these tools at some point.
Oh, yeah, those are treasures. I mean, the Richard and the crew there have got to be really proud of the fantastic kits that they've made over these past 10 years. So I'm sure they're going to end up somewhere. I mean, someone would be crazy not to get those and try to keep that going somehow.
But I certainly hope that, in terms of ending up somewhere, that all the guys, Richard and the rest of the staff, end up somewhere great.
For sure.
I'm sure it's a huge point of turmoil in their lives, and we wish them absolutely the best and the greatest in the future. And we sure hope you can stay in the hobby industry, too. So hang in there, guys.
Absolutely. Yep, hang in there.
We're all behind you.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's get into some more positive news, shall we?
Yes.
So, if anybody's been watching my Boss Builds podcast, I've been building the new Blitz by Takom Yacht Tiger, which came out a bit ago. And hot out of the presses, look what we got now. We have a Blitz by Takom Panzer III. All right. And this also being brought into Japan by Beaver. Probably starting to see distribution internationally as well.
Right.
Much smaller box than the Yacht Tiger.
It's a much smaller tank, yeah, for sure.
Can they fit a whole tank kit into this little box?
They have.
This one's got the Schürzen on it, as it says right on the box in German, mit Schürzen.
Schürzen, that's right.
What else do you know about this kit that you can tell us, Brian?
Well, I know the Schürzen are actually photo-etched parts, so it's really nice scale-to-scale parts in there.
All right, let's take a look, see if I can dig them out here.
Yeah, should be in there somewhere, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yep.
Yes,
yep,
there you go.
We've got photo-etched Schürzen in there.
It's in there, nice.
It is much
got
smaller.
Four marking variations. It's got Lincoln length tracks, as you experienced with the Yacht Tiger, although I don't think this one comes with a jig this time.
I do not see anything that looks jig-like in this box, no.
All right. Still easy enough to put together. I love those Lincoln length tracks.
Well, I'd love to do this one for Boss Builds as well, but I don't know if I want to do two Takom tanks back to back. We'll have to talk to the viewers on Boss Builds and see what they would like to see next. But
right.
Personally, what I would like to see next, if we're going to do a 3, I've always kind of had a soft spot for the Stug III, not the Panzer III itself. So maybe if they do a Stug III in the Blitz series, I would go ahead and take a dive on that one.
Well, Scott, I've got good news for you.
What?
We have just today sent out our announcement of the Stug III Ausführung G early version.
By Blitz, by Takom?
Yeah, another Blitz kit from Takom.
Awesome.
It's coming.
It's awesome.
We're looking forward to a June release for that one.
June. Okay, well, that's just around the corner.
Stug 3. Ausführung G.
And now that's one with the little stubby barrel or the
No. That's the decent long one.
Okay. I'm kind of revealing here that I'm not, super German tank expert when it gets down to the various Ausfs Or how did you pronounce that again?
Ausführung.
Ausführung? Okay.
Help me. Ausführung. People out there, I guess. I'm not German.
I'd like to think we have at least a couple of German viewers, so perhaps they could help us out. Yes.
Yes.
Alrighty, so that's great news. So
I'm very happy about that. In between that, before that comes in, there's another Jagdtiger with the Porsche suspension. So it's Blitz. It's a Blitz.
You're going for the low-hanging fruit there.
You got to do what you got to do. Yeah.
Alrighty, let's take turns here. What do you got to show me?
Oh well, speaking of tanks, I got a big small tank. It's big and it's a small tank. It's an M5A1 Stewart, but it's big because it's 1/16 scale. Is that even? Is that? Can you? I'm just going to show Scott, and I'm going to show all the adoring fans at home.
Yeah, we got a Skype thing going here so we can hear each other.
Yes. This is but classy hobby. It was announced quite a while ago, and we've been waiting. They were trying to get it right the first time, and they did. So we got this beautiful 1/16 scale kit, the M5A1 Stewart. This is a late production version.
What's that going to change on the vehicle?
I think some of these the pieces on the side of the turret there, and maybe the type of track. So this one has what is this? I forget what the number is. T36E6 with the 3-bar cleat style tracks, and these are obviously it's 1/16 scale, so these will be assembly type workable type tracks. And let me see if I can get it out here. So we got you open this box, and well, what do you know? It's still in a box, so you gotta open this up again, and holy crap, this thing! Look how packed. Can you get everybody seeing this? I'm showing folks at home.
There's a lot of parts in there.
Hitting the camera, all kinds of stuff, and it's got photo etch parts there for the engine grills and some straps and guards and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is just chock full of stuff. Got a bag full of road wheels here. You can see how kind of largish those are here. I'm never going to get this back in the box. This is so packed. Okay.
You can have fun after we finish the podcast.
Yes. Well, here's the hull, as you can see. It's molded in a nice olive drab-ish plastic, I guess. And this is, you open it up, and it's full of track parts. So there we go. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's this type of track is a double pin type. So you got the 2 pins that are molded together as one, and then you sandwich the outside and the inner portions of the tracks to sandwich them in there, and then it will be workable.
Excellent.
Yep, and there's a turret and all your good stuff in there. So yeah, this is large and Stewarty, and just lots of parts in here. You can build it with side skirts, no side skirts, and it's got how many marking variations do we have here? It doesn't say, but it does say it has high quality decals, so there is that. I think it's got two marking variations in here.
So how many of these sorts of large offerings has Classy Hobby done? Do you know?
This is I think it's the third in total. They did some Panzer II Lukes. Luke, the Teisatsu is reconnaissance tanks.
Yes.
Also in 1/16, and those were very well received. They did some German figure sets in 1/16, and no figure sets for this yet, but they do have a jerry can and drum can set that would go rather nicely with this kit here. So yeah, we're looking forward to good things from Classy Hobby. And it is very, very classy, I might add, with this wonderful boxing and just a big Stewart M5A1 in 1/16 scale. Okay. So I'm looking forward to building this at some point, but boy, those tracks are going to take a long time. You've had your fun with the Jagdtiger tracks.
They weren't too bad. They weren't too bad. The hardest part I had on the Jagdtiger kit is some of those little hooks on the back deck, are just so tiny. And it's not like you can hold them in your fingers. Basically, you stick them to your finger oil and hope they don't fall. Kind of that right. Sort of
one of the techniques that the seasoned modelers are often using. Yes.
Yeah, but track links can be problematic. So seizing on that as for my segue, let's talk about something else with tracks that's a non-military application. And here we have kind of an interesting new kit from Hasegawa. It's the Yanmar Tractor. Oh boy, do we want to say this? YT5113A. Ah, yes.
Oh, yeah.
The old YT5113A, the Delta Crawler, as they call it. Now, I'm guessing maybe hold this so Brian can see it here too. Now, I think maybe they're calling it the Delta Crawler because the rear track or Caterpillar assembly here makes a triangular shape,
yeah,
a delta shape.
That's actually pretty cool.
But yeah, this is a rather unique piece of farming equipment. And I guess ostensibly the reason for this is, if you're going to be plowing a field that's really, really wet and soft, that this is the best way, to distribute the weight of the vehicle so you're not going to sink too deep into the mud. Now, I was curious, is this tractor kit got Lincoln length, or how did they do, the track assembly? So I popped it open and discovered that it's rather anticlimactic because it's just one piece and it's completely done. So holding out, so Brian, you can see it here too.
Okay. But the question is it done nicely?
In the bag, it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good in the bag. Yeah, we can perhaps take a look at that up close later. But yeah, this is the seems to be a very well molded tractor. Now, the question is, have you ever built any farming equipment?
Offhand, no. I can't recall any farming equipment.
Well, you and I have been to Germany to the toy show in Nuremberg a number of times, and there's a lot of agricultural models there, isn't there?
Absolutely, yeah.
And
construction, cranes.
And this Yanmar tractor is far from the only of Hasegawa's recent releases in their farming or construction equipment type of stuff. They've got 3 or 4 different steam shovels. They've got, a big steam roller. They've got a combine, a number of great kits related to farming and construction. So, maybe it's an American cultural thing. I've just never really thought to build, agricultural equipment or construction equipment. But I've actually seen magazines here in Japan. Maybe you've seen these too, Brian. Like Heavy Machine Monthly kind of magazine where they show big giant construction equipment and men running them. Kind of like this, machine or porn or sort of a thing. So it is, although it's peacetime, they're not unlike, a lot of the things that see use in the military.
Tracks and they get dirty and weathered, and you can apply pretty much all your military techniques to any of these things.
So yeah, if you're a big modeler of construction equipment or agriculture equipment, we'd love to see your comments on the video. What is it about these sorts of models that you find interesting? What kind of things have you built, and what do you recommend? Because it's a genre that I'm kind of interested in getting interested in. That's kind of like a double negative, but yeah, I am starting to feel a little bit of attraction to these items.
Pretty cool.
Anyhow, so that's one of the newest releases from Hasegawa, the Yanmar tractor. All right, you're up. What you got next?
Okay, all right. I got some good stuff here from the good old US of A, from our friends at Atlantis Hobbies. Atlantis Hobbies, as we may have talked about in previous iterations of this show, not on this show, but maybe the hobby show and things like that. We've talked about Atlantis. They purchased the old Revell molds, not just Revell, but Revell, Monogram, Aurora, Renwall, all these old molds, and they're bringing back a lot of the old classic kits. So today, I've got 2 helicopter kits. These are original Aurora toolings. We've got the AH-56A Cheyenne and the HH-3E helicopter Jolly Green Giant. This is a 1968 tooling, I think, and a 1969 tooling. So these are.
So you 69. Better have a good hobby knife ready to take all the flash off the parts if it's anything.
Oh, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Really? Aurora had some fairly flash-free moments in the past there. And here's something interesting. I actually have an original issue of the Jolly Green Giant, and I compared. And actually, the original, it was about the same. It really hasn't changed much over however many years. 69. You guys do the math.
But 51 years.
Yeah. But I mean, I built both of these, and probably many of you our age-ish, in your 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, probably had some good childhood memories of putting these boys together, as I certainly did.
Was that what it is for you, Brian? Is it just nostalgia? Because I got to be honest here. I don't really find myself attracted to the idea of building a 51-year-old model kit.
Really? You're not interested at all to see what the state of the industry was 50-some years ago?
Not a lot.
No. Okay. Well, see, I like all the new kits too, with all their perfect fit and super detail and all that. But I also like revisiting the old kits of the past, and a lot of it is to do with nostalgia. It brings back the carefree days of our youth when we didn't care about parting lines or flat finishes or silver decals. But what I like to do with these kind of kits now is, and some people get these and go crazy and super detail them and bring them up to modern standards. But unless there's, if there's already a modern kit of that, why do that? Of course, like with the Cheyenne, which is a very interesting prototype attack helicopter, there are no other kits of this thing, so this is all you got.
Okay, well, fair enough on that.
So some people will get this and super detail it up to modern standards. What I like to do is I just like to get an old kit like this and then just build it right out of the box as cleanly and nicely as possible. Make sure all the fits right, take care of seams, do all that, and just do as I would have liked to have seen it on the box top at some point. When I grew up, what was on the box top was like the gold standard for me. But then, with IPMS and all that, it goes a lot farther than that. But yeah, just a good old out of the box build, is what I like to do. And so that plus the nostalgia, and just also, as I mentioned, just seeing the state of the industry 50, 60 years ago is pretty cool.
All right, well, maybe I'll dig into one of those at some point, and
they are fun.
Embarrass myself by actually having a good time.
Highly recommended. Atlantis models.
All right. We've been talking a little bit at the beginning of the show about, victims of COVID-19. Of course, we mentioned Wingnut Wings. One of the other big victims this year of COVID-19 is the Shizuoka Hobby Show.
That's right.
Just like almost every show in the world this year, the Shizuoka Hobby Show also fell victim to the COVID-19 pandemic. So we've got a lot of new releases coming out, but the venue that was planned to show them off is gone.
Yes.
But we're just starting to get the information about the new releases that are coming out, or that would have been, of course, displayed with pride by the manufacturers at the Shizuoka Hobby Show. And to showcase that stuff, what we have done at HobbyLink Japan is just put up on our website what we're calling the Spring Hobby Showcase. Now, this is basically what would have been our hobby show preview if there was going to be a hobby show. And again, there isn't going to be a hobby show this year, so we'll have to settle for the preview. So I encourage everybody to go over to the Spring Hobby preview or showcase that we've got on the site now to get all the latest information about all the new kits that are coming from most of the major manufacturers. But here comes the big spoiler. Perhaps, at least for me, the most exciting announcement from any of the kit manufacturers is from Fine Molds, and they're going to be tooling in 1/72nd scale a brand new F4 Phantom II. And
excellent. I'm
super excited. We have nothing to show yet because this is a future kit that's going to be coming probably July. I spoke directly with Suzuki-san, Kunihiro Suzuki, the president of Fine Molds, about this upcoming kit, and he said probably we're going to see test shots in July and maybe a product that month or perhaps in August. Of course, they're working like crazy on it despite the pandemic.
There are actually two coming at once, right?
Well, I think they've got the EJ and
EJ
Kai.
Yeah.
The EJ Kai, yeah.
Right.
So the both Japanese versions of the Phantom that were built in Japan by probably Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. Correct me in the comments if I got that wrong, but they're usually the guys who do the big license builds. And of course, for Phantoms, there's tons of Phantom fans all over the world, but Japan is still flying the Phantom, and that's one of the reasons that Fine Molds is doing this. This year, 2020, is actually going to be the final year of service for the Phantom in Japan, and I don't know what other countries, if any, are still using it. Maybe Turkey or something, I think I'd heard,
Greece
might still be flying Phantoms.
Korea was recently, but I think they're mostly retired. And then, it's the recon versions are the ones that are flying now in Japan, and they will be retiring. The Fighter's retired last year. Yeah,
and even just literally like 3 weeks ago, I heard a roar and looked out my window here at HobbyLink Japan and saw two Phantoms flying over. HobbyLink Japan probably up at about 1,000 or 2,000 feet. So yeah, they're definitely still flying. But we're going to have to wait a couple of months to get the new kit from Fine Molds, perhaps up to 3 months for that, but definitely something to look forward to because Fine Molds does absolutely brilliant work, and that's not just sales hyperbole. They really do brilliant work.
The best.
But in the meantime, for you Phantom fans out there, we've just newly gotten this into stock. This is a book that was actually published a few months ago, but we've just got it into stock at HobbyLink. It's called Samurai Phantom, and what better name for a book about Phantoms in Japanese service. This is a photo album by a Japanese aviation photographer, Nakano-san, Nakano Koji, or Koji Nakano, depending on how you like to put the names. And it's just page after page of absolutely jaw-droppingly beautiful shots of F4 Phantoms in Japanese service. Yeah, this is some really, really sweet stuff. And we've got, plenty of inventory on this item. And if you are a Phantom fan, oh, look at this big two-pager. That is gorgeous.
That is.
if you are a Phantom fan of any nationality, this is definitely going to be a book that you're going to want to look at. There's a little bit of text, as you can see here, and it is all in Japanese. But, you know, as they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and this book is almost entirely pictures. So I can't recommend this highly enough if you're a fan of the Phantom. Samurai Phantom F4 Final Chapter, now available from HobbyLink Japan. Beautiful, full-color, glossy paper photo love fest for Japanese Phantoms.
That is very cool.
So definitely take advantage of that if you have any interest in the subject matter.
Yep. I was lucky enough the last couple of years, went to Idoma Air Base and Hyakuri Air Base a couple of times and saw Phantoms fly. Saw 9 Phantoms in the air flying in formation at one time.
Oh, sweet.
That was awesome. And even just last November, there was a single Recon Phantom, the RF-4E, was flying at Idoma. So don't know if they're going to be any air shows this year, but so that might have been
probably not likely, sadly.
Yeah.
But we can only hope that this thing's going to settle down during the summer at least.
Yes. But the Phantoms live on in plastic and paper. So there you go.
Well, I don't know if I've ever seen an actual F-4 Phantom flying, but I know I have seen lots and lots of FA-18s flying.
Oh, yes.
He said, giving away the next item that Brian was going to show us.
Yes. Okay. Well, I've got one right here. Actually, this is from my friends at Kinetic Models out of Hong Kong. It's an FA-18 ACD. It'll build any one of those versions. But the main point of this kit is it will build an aggressor bird from which VC-12. VFC-12, VC-12, were the aggressor squadrons. Aggressor squadrons are the planes that kind of get gussied up to look like enemy aircraft. Yes, the bad guys. So the good guys go up and try to work on their tactics against these guys flying the aggressors who try to imitate the enemy.
Enemy, in quotes, yes.
Yes. We're not going to name any names.
I wonder if this enemy is going to be seen perhaps in the new Top Gun movie that's coming up.
Mayhaps.
That would be
perhaps.
Maybe that's why Kinetic decided to do this now.
You'd think they'd push that on the box, though. But the F-18 will be the star of the new movie, right? I haven't seen too much about it, but
that's pretty much all the Navy's flying these days in terms of
F-35 and F-18.
Attack or that kind of aircraft. But
now, let me see if I can get this open. Kinetic has very thorough boxing regimen. Jeez, I can't get this off. Cut to the technical difficulty screen. Okay, here we go. I'm not breaking it. Well, it is indeed an F-18, as you can see here. Parts, anything particularly interesting? Well, the markings I can show you. So we've got the markings here that include several squadrons, including the aggressor squadron. And as we saw on the box top here, obviously the markings are important too, but the main thing that makes it an aggressor aircraft is that splinter camouflage on there, but you're just going to have to mask it off and paint that yourself. But we do have all the decals and stuff to make that. So, it's got the different inserts for the canopies, so you can make the single-seater or the two-seater versions of the Hornet in here. So, it's basically like a two-in-one kit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Kinetic Gold. And it's Kinetic Models, but they've started the Kinetic Gold brand, and the meaning for that is it's ensuring sharper and crisper molding because they've invested a lot in new toolings. They've invested a lot in the machines that use those toolings. The actual what do you call those? The molding machines, I guess.
Probably higher pressure injection or something. I'm
higher pressure injection.
But,
so even if you're using an older tooling with the new machines, you'll get sharper and crisper molds. Okay. So that's pretty cool. So F-18. This is actually came in the other day. It's on sale now, and you can get it at HobbyLink Japan as well. 5,800 yen.
All right. To close out the show today, I have two new releases from Tamiya. These have been out for actually a couple of weeks or so. Cool. But as a World War II guy, of course, I've been looking forward to showing this baby off. Now, of course, Tamiya has had their P-51 in 32nd scale out before, but now we've got the F-51 version, which is the Korean War version. As you may know from history, after World War II, they formed, the Army Air Force, or Army Air Corps became the Air Force, and they changed the designation from P, which ostensibly was for pursuit,
patrol,
to F for fighter.
Right.
The interesting thing is, of course, during World War II, F was for the photo reconnaissance stuff. So they just flip-flopped, P and F after the war.
Right.
So the P-51 became the F-51 during the Korean War. But I've always had a soft spot for attack aircraft, like the F-4U Corsair, which also saw Korean War service. It was basically turned into an attack role rather than a fighter role because, Korea was, of course, we were starting to see jet aircraft in widespread use.
Right.
And that means this kit comes with lots of underwing armament. So we've got the HVAR rockets and lots of bombs that you can put on. So you can have a whole, big underwing store situation going with this kit.
Ooh.
Like the original release of the kit, it's got the neat little magnetic cowl parts that you can pull on and off and show off the completely detailed engine, completely detailed interior, including behind the pilot's seat with all the radios and stuff. I could go on and on and on. Obviously, it's one of those tour de force offerings from Tamiya.
Right.
And anybody who's a fan of the Mustang and Tamiya is definitely going to want to consider putting this baby on their shelf and hopefully putting it together. I know it's definitely on my short list of stuff to build, and I think I would rather build this version than the World War II version just because of the rockets. I love putting those rockets on there.
So new parts will be the rockets and like some other equipment, perhaps? Anything with the actual airframe itself that's different?
I really don't think there were any serious changes in that way. The box is showing off, of course, the panels that come off of the nose and the interior detail. I believe there's new radio equipment because the radios were a little bit more modern. But if you have any questions about what was happening with the aircraft, speaking of Wingnut Wings, Tamiya kind of took a page out of their book, and in addition to the instructions, they've included this little booklet,
nice.
which is a history of the aircraft and the Mustang in general. It's in both English and Japanese. And is illustrated with both photographs and diagrams about the actual aircraft, highlighting changes, extant aircraft, markings, all kinds of stuff. So a whole history of the plane.
Very nice. Very nice.
So you get a 16-page full-color booklet. Oh, look at it! It's like those old aero detail books I used to make with tons of photographs of existing Mustangs too. So little extra bonus that Tamiya has put together this time to throw inside the box with the new kit.
Well, Tamiya has always been pretty good about giving some good information on the actual things they're representing there. But yeah, that's another level there.
Yeah, so that's the F-51. And the one other thing I wanted to show off from Tamiya today, just because it's so cool, is the Kawasaki Ninja H2 Carbon. This is a modern motorcycle that looks like it's straight out of science fiction. I'm going to embarrass myself here and admit that I don't know much about modern motorcycles. I used to have a motorcycle back in the day. I still have, of course, a license for it, but it's been a while since I've been on a big bike. But these modern bikes with all their carbon fiber cowling and stuff just look really, really crazy cool. And Tamiya, of course, we don't have to go into a long description of how good their detail is.
Fantastic.
Have you ever built a bike kit?
A million years ago, I built some, I think, old Revell 1/8 or 1/9 scale Harleys for a friend of the family, and that was it. But that's a long time ago.
When you open up like an aircraft kit or a tank kit, there's usually like 2 or 3 really big parts, like the wings or the hull or something that gives away immediately what it is you're going to be building. Yeah. But with these bike kits, it's like maybe the wheels give it away, but other than that, there's almost nothing in here that seems like it's an actual object, but somehow it's going to magically go together to be this really brilliant kit of this amazing looking motorcycle. So yeah, again, I'm not going to pretend I know exactly what this is or why it's so cool. I do know that Aoshima also has a kit of the same thing. But, with all due respect to Aoshima, if I had to pick one, I think I would go with the Tamiya kit.
Yeah. And what the scale's 1/12?
These are 1/12, yeah, just like standard for most motorcycles. So, yeah, I think I really need, as a modeler, to dive into a motorcycle kit someday and see what they're like, because I've never built one, and I'm kind of ashamed of myself, but I really should do that once. So. Alrighty, that's all I've got to show off. You got anything else for us today, Brian?
No, we can just go visit Wingnut Wings one more time, because I actually had a kit here, and I think this particular aircraft has a special place in your heart.
Yes, the Bristol F-2B. Yeah, I've actually flown in one. Yeah. I actually flew in a Bristol F-2B. One of the gentlemen who was involved with Peter Jackson's organization, when I visited Wingnut Wings in New Zealand, this would be about 7 or 8 years ago now, actually arranged for me to get a flight in a Bristol F-2B.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It's the only time I've ever flown where I was out in the airstream, or out in the
Right.
wind like that, with the goggles on and the whole thing.
Get coated with oil and everything else.
No, but your skin does
Earlier
get a little
aircraft, right?
roughed up from all being out in the airflow. Because I was in the front seat, the pilot sits in the back, so I'm basically sitting directly in the prop wash. Of
Right.
course, the pilot kind of is too, and it's even for a 100-year-old engine, and literally it was a 100-year-old engine when I flew in it. Even it still delivers quite a bit of breeze. So.
Oh yes, yes.
But yeah, again, we hope the best for our friends down in New Zealand, and of course our friends all over the world who are quarantining or out on the front lines helping fight this thing. Of course, you have our thanks from the bottom of our hearts on this. But everybody, please, no matter what you're doing, stay safe out there. And as soon as we can bring you another edition of Hobby Wire, we will be back with episode 3.
Right.
So until then, I'm Scott Hards, and this is
Brian Keaney.
All right, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks a lot
See you
for
next
tuning
time.
in.
Take care.
And now turn everything off.
Great.